Ocean's 12 is a 2004 American comedy heist film, which acts as the sequel to 2001's Ocean's 11. Like its predecessor, which was a remake of the 1960 heist film Ocean's 11, the film was directed by Steven Soderbergh and used an ensemble cast. Ocean's 13 is a 2007 American comedy heist film directed by Steven Soderbergh and starring an ensemble cast. It is the third and final film in the Soderbergh series following the 2004 sequel Ocean's 12 and the 2001 film Ocean's 11, which itself was a remake of the 1960 Rat Pack film Ocean's 11. Ocean's 11 is a 2001 American comedy heist film and the remake of the 1960 Rat Pack film of the same name. The 2001 film was directed by Steven Soderbergh and features an ensemble cast including George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Don Cheadle, Andy Gark and Julia Roberts. No Man's Land is a 1987 crime film written by Dick Wolf and directed by Peter Werner, starring D.B. Sweeney, Charlie Sheen and Randy Quaid. Brad Pitt made his acting debut in this film as an uncredited extra. Mr. and Mrs. Smith is a 2005 American action comedy film directed by Doug Liman. Bored upper middle class married couple John, Brad Pitt, and Jane Smith, Angelina Jolie, learn that they are assassins belonging to competing agencies, and that they have been assigned to kill each other. Legends of the Fall is a 1994 American epic drama film directed by Edward Zwick and starring Brad Pitt, Anthony Hopkins, Aidan Quinn, Julia Ormond, and Henry Thomas. Based on the 1979 novella of the same title by Jim Harrison, the film is about three brothers and their father living in the remote wilderness of early 1900s and how their lives are affected by nature, history, war, and love. Atlas Shrugged, Part 1 is a 2011 American film adaptation of part of Ayn Rand's 1957 novel Atlas Shrugged, intended as the first film of a trilogy encompassing the entire book. After various treatments and proposals floundered for nearly 40 years, investor John Agliolo initiated production in June 2010. Across the Tracks is a 1991 American independent film drama about track and field. It was directed and written by Sandy Tung. California is a 1993 American road thriller film directed by Dominic Sena and starring Brad Pitt, Juliette Lewis, David Duchovny, and Michelle Forbes. The film focuses on a graduate student and his photographer girlfriend traveling cross-country to research serial killings, who unwittingly carpool with a serial killer and his childlike girlfriend. Cutting Class is a 1989 slasher film and dark comedy directed by Roscoe Pallenberg and written by Steve Slavkin. The film was Brad Pitt's first major role. The Croods is a 2013 American 3D computer-animated adventure comedy film produced by DreamWorks Animation and distributed by 20th Century Fox. It features the voices of Nicolas Cage, Emma Stone, Ryan Reynolds, Catherine Keener, Clark Duke, and Cloris Leachman. Babel is a 2006 American-Mexican-French drama film directed by Alejandro González Iñárritu and written by Guillermo Arriaga, starring an ensemble cast. The multi-narrative drama completes González Iñárritu's Death Trilogy, following Amores Perros and 21 Grams. Cool World is a 1992 American live-action/animated fantasy film directed by Ralph Bakshi, and starring Kim Basinger, Gabriel Byrne and Brad Pitt. It tells the story of a cartoonist who finds himself in the animated world he thinks he created, and is seduced by one of the characters, a comic strip vamp who wants to be real. A River Runs Through It is a 1992 American film directed by Robert Redford and starring Craig Sheffer, Brad Pitt, Tom Skerritt, Brenda Blethyn, and Emily Lloyd. It is a period drama based on the semi-autobiographical novella A River Runs Through It written by Norman MacLean, adapted for the screen by Richard Friedenberg. Johnny Suede is the 1991 film directorial debut of writer-director Tom DiCillo and starred Brad Pitt and Catherine Keener with early appearances from Samuel L. Jackson and Nick Cave. Seven is a 1995 American psychological thriller film directed by David Fincher. The film stars Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, with Gwyneth Paltrow, R. Lee Ermey, John C. McGinley, and Kevin Spacey in supporting roles. Interview with the Vampire. The Vampire Chronicles is a 1994 American romantic horror film directed by Neil Jordan, based on the 1976 novel Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice, and starring Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. Inglourious Basterds is a 2009 German-American war black comedy film written and directed by Quentin Tarantino and starring Brad Pitt, Christoph Waltz, Emily Laron, Michael Fassbender, Eli Roth, and Diane Kruger. Snatch is a 2000 crime comedy film written and directed by Guy Ritchie, featuring an ensemble cast. Set in the London criminal underworld, the film contains two intertwined plots, one dealing with the search for a stolen diamond, the other with a small-time boxing promoter who finds himself under the thumb of a ruthless gangster who is ready and willing to have his subordinates carry out severe and sadistic acts of violence. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button is a 2008 American romantic fantasy drama film directed by David Fincher. The storyline by Eric Roth and Robin Swicord is loosely based on the 1922 short story of the same name by F. 12 Monkeys, also known as 12 Monkeys, is a 1995 American science fiction film directed by Terry Gilliam, inspired by Chris Marker's 1962 short film La Jetée, and starring Bruce Willis, Madeleine Stowe, and Brad Pitt, with Christopher Plummer and David Morse in supporting roles. Meet Joe Black is a 1998 American fantasy romance film produced by Universal Studios, directed by Martin Brest and starring Brad Pitt, Anthony Hopkins and Claire Forlani, loosely based on the 1934 film Death Takes a Holiday. Burn After Reading is a 2008 black comedy film written, produced, edited and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. The film stars George Clooney, John Malkovich, Frances McDormand, Tilda Swinton, and Brad Pitt. Fight Club is a 1999 film based on the 1996 novel of the same name by Chuck Palahniuk. The film was directed by David Fincher, and stars Brad Pitt, Edward Norton and Helena Bonham Carter. Norton plays the unnamed protagonist, an everyman who is discontented with his white-collar job.